Insight Broadcast. I am your host, Reverend Dr. Rodney Coles, sharing information with the community in all the different areas. And we have a new guest, a special guest on our broadcast today, a lot of information. So I'm praying that you have your pens, your paper, and take this information down today. Today we have Miss Brandy, Miss Antoinette. I done messed your name up already. Annette, Miss Annette. I'm gonna let you give your full name and then we go that way because one thing I mess up a name in a
It's
heartbeat.
fine.
Please tell who you are and your name. Make sure we have your name
Okay.
correctly.
My name is Annette Eubanks. I am with the Mid-East Commission Area Agency on Aging.
Okay. And Ms. Annette, we just thank you so much for being on this broadcast. And I mean, just knowing
Thank you.
all the things that you do a whole lot. Could you share us to the community what you do? And also we want to talk about how could you help our communities?
Sure. I'm going to start off by educating the community about what the AAA is. And that's what I'll call the Area Agency on Aging, the AAA. So we actually are a network, an aging network nationally. There's 16 AAAs across North Carolina. So a lot of the services we duplicate in this area are actually duplicated somewhere else across North Carolina. So if you're somewhere else watching this and need this assistance, reach out to your area agency in your area. We actually were created by the Older Americans Act, and we are basically created to oversee administration of funding and to create planning for our older adults.
So when you say administrative funding, what exactly is that? Like what you work
So
with?
administration of funding for us is going to be your home and community care block grant funding. And so this funding looks to you and your community through home delivered meals, congregate meals, transportation, in-home aid services, several other services that are actually offered to individuals who are 60 and older. It also applies to caregivers. So if a caregiver is caring for someone at home, it also applies to them as well. There are services for them as well. But basically, when we fund it, our administration is going to be federal, state, and local funds. And we cover 5 counties, so that's Pitt, Beaufort, Martin, Hertford, and Bertie counties are under our region. And so when we administer those funds, we meet with the county to see what are your community needs. So the services that are offered in Pitt County may not be the same services that are offered in Beaufort County. They're based on community need, which is very, very important. We want to make sure we are helping our seniors age successfully.
Okay. And just for those who may don't know, what is a caregiver? You mentioned caregiver, and you also mentioned there's some help for the caregivers. So I guess a question, what is a caregiver, and what kind of help we can help the caregivers?
So our program for caregivers, it would be an individual who's 60 and older and caring for a loved one at home, or you could be under 60 and caring for someone who's 60 and older. And so basically it's important for you to have those resources in place because anyone who's a caregiver knows exactly how stressful it can be providing 24/7 care to a loved one who you're trying to keep in the home. And so we come in and we do one-on-one services with you to see what your needs are. And it could be you just need a time away just to get out of the house, to do your own thing, and that's where our respite services come in. So we hire someone to come in for a couple of hours to sit with your loved one so you can get out and do what you need to do. And it could be a getaway or whatever. We also have incontinence supplies, and so if you're looking for or nutritional supplies, and so if you have someone you're caring for at home and you just really can't afford some of the things they need to take care of them, we look at trying to help you alleviate those expenses as far as anything along those lines. But we also do raised commode seats. It could be hand bars in the shower, whatever you need to help your loved one stay at home.
One of the things, as I'm hearing you speak, when it comes to senior citizens and children, they are my true heart, and especially seniors. I always believe that seniors paid the price for us to be here today, and it wasn't because of them we won't be here. There are things and a sacrifice, and that they have sacrificed for us. To hear you to talk about the service that you give them, to me, that is a plus. And you hit some key points in caregivers. Sometimes it's a twist. Either you have a lot of families have to come back and take care of their moms, and for senior citizens, I'm gonna tell you something. They love their little domain. Their little flower pots, wherever it's at. They don't want to go nowhere else.
No, I do not.
And to hear that, a caregiver, and that to help them, even because sometimes, listen, you can be stressed out sometimes watching anybody, and like one of the things, and this might be a different subject, every time me and my wife got to go away, we got to make sure we take the cat and the dog to a babysitting service so we could get out,
Right.
for a whole 2 weeks or a week a weekend. But to hear that you need that break, but the service you provide is like if they need the nutrition drinks, if they need continence supplies, that these are things that y'all can offer them. Let me ask a question, because people probably say, well, is there a fee behind of getting the continence supply? Or is there a fee about getting the milk or the nutrition, or is it a scale?
So no, there's no fee. Basically, we come in and do an assessment with you to make sure that you meet the qualifications, and it would be that you're 60 or older, or the one you're caring for is 60 or older, and that basically there's a need there. So it's not income driven at all, and there's no fee for the service. We actually have all our services are covered through federal, state, and local funds. So there's your tax
Wow.
money going to very
Good
good
use.
use.
Thank
Very
you,
good
Congress.
use.
So you're doing assessment in all these different counties that y'all work with. I mean, you're doing assessment, and in the assessment, that means that if they need these, they don't have to use the little funds they have. Because I'm always fighting, and I want to thank God for a program that helping the seniors was called the CSFP, a food program. But I'm always fighting for seniors because these young ones, I mean, they getting them $400-$500 of food stamps, and they give our seniors $16. I mean, I went for a pack of chicken the other day.
Very little.
It was $14 for a pack of chicken. I said, "Oh Lord, that's just for a pack of chicken." So for seniors that know that they can use their money for elsewhere, but how you help it, to me, I think that's just the most beautiful service. And I guess the question that most people want to know, and we're gonna keep on adding this out here, how do we get in contact with you? I mean, I'm hearing all this good stuff. They're hearing this stuff that's hearing on the broadcast. They said, how do we get in contact with you and make sure my county, what's the counties you represent again? So, I'm not in your county, I'm not the one. Maybe if I'm not in your county, you can reference them to somebody else. But what is the contact number that they need to contact you? And we're going to talk about some more of your service.
Okay.
Could you give us a contact? How we
Sure.
get up with you?
So again, my name is Annette Eubanks, and we cover Pitt, Beaufort, Martin, Bertie, and Hertford counties. We offer an array of services. We have 13 partners who are providers who we actually fund for services, like your home delivered meals, your congregate meals, in-home aid services. I could go on. And so call me directly. I'll get you exactly where you need to go. My number is 252-974-1835.
And I know that folks listening to this broadcast and saying how we can help moms, whoever they may be taking care of, because in technology today, most people don't know how to use the internet, but knowing that they be able to contact a number, because you get on a website, say, well, what is that thing? May not dial a number
Right.
to get the service. So you do a lot in helping with the constant supply. You do a lot in helping with they need formula. Now I'm a senior citizen, and and I can tell you I'm not one yet, but I have trouble walking. So that's when we bought our house. I told my wife, listen, no stairs. We're gonna walk, because I'm not climbing no more. But do you help with ramps or any of those type of things? That I'm a senior, and I got this house, and it was nice when a nice little stair, but I can't get up those stairs no more.
We have various programs. So one program would be in-house for caregivers for ramps. The other programs would be through the Home and Community Care Block Grant funding. And so those services are actually offered in Pitt County through the Council on Aging, also offered in Martin County through the Senior Center, and Beaufort County does not have that service in their service array. And once again, we actually put the funding where it's needed. And at that time when the funding was put there, we did not need that in Beaufort County. Each year we readdress that through our planning with the counties to see what the needs are, and that's when we look at our funding plan for that year, which we're actually starting to do right now for
Okay.
the upcoming fiscal year.
So, and now in some counties you have it, and some of the counties you don't have it. But let me ask the question: if maybe in those counties that don't have it, you may have resources that may be able to help them in that area?
So through our family caregiver program, it covers all 5 counties, but the
Okay.
housing and home improvement through the Home and Community Care Block Grant is not offered throughout the region. It's based on basically what the county chose for services. And I'm gonna put this out there on a totally different note, is that the funding for every county is based on your data census. And we all know that's coming up very,
Yes.
very soon. What is very important for us is we gotta make sure every senior is counted. A lot of times what is happening, I've already spoken with the census data individuals on this, what is happening is they hire individuals to come, and to go to houses and knock on the door. And you and I all know that seniors are not going to open the door to a stranger. So it's really important that as our churches and as our senior centers, that we know that where those home delivered meal clients are, those homebound seniors are, we're making sure they understand how to fill out the cards that are coming to their homes or being mailed out. They understand how to fill them out so we can count those numbers and get that funding we so desperately need throughout the region.
It's amazing that I was in a meeting recently. It was mentioned to me that I think it's coming. Is it 21 or 22?
It's 2020.
20 next year.
It's next year. So they're already
What in
getting,
the
they're already
world?
they already put out fillers trying to find workers. They're already trying to get people in place for this. I actually met with someone last Thursday, and they're already ramping up to get the workers out there to do the census data. So.
People don't know how important that is on two areas of making sure they have the datas, and also, I mean, if they don't have the datas, they can't tell, I mean, who's in that community. I mean, you could say that there's 800 people there, but they got a data, they only got 50 people. I mean, it doesn't go to another county.
You don't get the funding for meals. You don't get the funding for any services that you need when it's data-driven like that. And ours is, all our funding is data-driven as far as the census.
Yeah. And I'm going to say this, by talking with you about the seniors, I mean, you have such a passion for it.
I do.
mean, you know, when a person have a passion for it, you go more than 100 yards, and your passion is just with that, helping the
thank you.
seniors, and most people don't understand we do it because our love is there. It's not, I mean, it's not the salary, it's just the love, the patient. In my case, there ain't no salary, but the point is, so knowing that these seniors can be helped with the service that's provided for them, and the caregivers, like I said, they can be 16 years or older, and they will help them, and you'll do a home intake. I think I like the idea, I love the idea when y'all guys go into the house and when you could do an assessment. To me, it's almost like a pastor, or if he's only preaching from the pulpit, you know, you're not touching the people, but I would believe a personal touch is better than a preaching word, and that's one of the reasons that I like to people to have my cell phone number, call me, text me, let's meet up, let's talk. You know, I think that personal touch is what Jesus did. He touched you. I mean, he was out there. I mean, even the woman who had the issue of the blood, she was able to touch his garment in that crowd. And I think your personal touch, where people realize the service that you provided for them, that you will come in and find out what's the need. Because a lot of times people get so much of a runaround that you call them, and, well, and they switch it over. That is so, that is frustrating when you got folks that don't really have the passion, and they continue having you going from one person to another person. It just drives you crazy. And I know the number that you said that they can call is a 252. Make sure I got it right. Is it 974-1835?
That's my direct number. It goes directly to me.
So they can call you directly.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, we still got a lot of time on the show, and I want you to share anything else you would like to share with the community, things that you do. The floor is yours. A good friend, Ernest Silver, my brother, always said the floor is yours. You tell them whatever you want them to tell them.
Well, I mean, we have an array of services. We've touched on family caregiving. We have Project Care in-house, and that is actually a program for caregivers who are caring for loved ones with Alzheimer's or dementia. And that person actually we actually cover 29 counties with that contract. But we actually subcontract out 10 of those counties to make things a little bit easier on that one person. But we have respite funds through that program. It's also an in-home visit.
Wow.
And so she comes in to see what your needs are. But I want to say that my family caregivers, they go beyond. They're not just a resource connection. They are counselors. They get phone calls from loved ones saying, look, this is how last night was. I'm stressed out. I don't know what to do. These are the behaviors that I'm seeing. Any guidance you can give me? And they go beyond. They truly have hearts of gold. I have to say that. My whole team does. I had the Ombudsman program, which is Laura Jett. She goes into, so we go beyond the community. We consider our residents in long-term care, which are your nursing homes and your adult care homes. They're a part of the community too, and we often forget them, unfortunately. And so we have an ombudsman who goes into these facilities, and she monitors for any kind of resident right violation. But she also mediates between family members. She mediates between the facility and the families to make sure that the resident is getting what they need. mean, a lot of times they don't want to be in these facilities, and we got to make their life the best we can while they're there, and that's very important. We have evidence-based programs. So we have matter of balance, chronic disease, and these meet weekly for maybe up to 6 weeks, and we actually teach you about nutrition and about how to, make sure you're not falling at home and how to manage chronic diseases. And so we have trained leaders who actually do those programs as well. We do a lot of resource connections. So if you have a senior or you're a senior and you don't know where to go and you need this, we get calls a lot for, hey, recently we got one and I can't pay my utility bill, it's extremely high, and we actually attain grants. We don't have that funding through federal or state or local, and so we go out and we search for private grants. So we have that funding sitting there that we try to keep to the side, and when someone calls us in a disaster situation or a situation they've gone to other resources and there's nothing there available, we try to keep that funding sitting there waiting for them so they can use that funding.
So make sure they get it correct. I don't want people get it twisted. On the funds that you have for those with bills, you have to be a senior. Am I correct?
We're looking at 16 older or our programs,
Right.
exactly.
So because they would say, "Hey, I heard you say that you pay bills," So
Right.
it's like, "Oh, no. You got
And
to
it's
be in
based
that
on need, and we're
need.
going to. A lot of times we're connected. So if they call us, we may say, "Have you reached out to your utility company?" Because they have resources.
Right.
And if they haven't, we say, "Can we reach out on your behalf? What can we do?" And if we've done everything we can possibly do, that funding is sitting there as a backup that we'll use if we need to use it. It's not a lot of money sitting there, but it's sitting there in case we need it.
Yeah, and that's the key thing that you're doing intake is one of the things we have in place in this area is called the community network. It's all in the Martin County area. Is they do an intake to find out what it is they need and connect them with the resource. What they don't know, which we probably didn't mention, you have a lot of partners as well as we, and that makes a big difference. That
You can't build a bridge alone. You need a partnership. You need a team.
you need a team. You need a team. So your partners and your guys be able to figure out what we can help with these folks here, especially our seniors. And knowing that you have one program that you say you handle 29 counties, that's open. And now, is there a website? Because sometimes they may say, well, listen, I can't get on it, but I can have my granddaughter or my grandson to look at it because, sometimes we can, even in a message in church, people only hear what they want to hear. You can preach a whole 45-minute message and only hear what
Exactly.
three-minute old message and they miss it all. Is there a website that folks could get on as a senior, and maybe not the seniors, but you never know, they may could get on, but a website they could get on and learn some more of the information?
Sure. So mecaa.org, and we're also on Facebook, and we put scams out or anything that comes across us from a national level or the state level. We actually are posting on Facebook all the time just to keep the public aware of what's going on out there.
Now, a question I didn't ask you, is there any help that you need from the community?
We always need partners. You can't, like I said, you can't do this alone, and we cannot rely on funding. Before funding came about, the churches, and there were other resources in place, it's got to be community involvement. We've got to all put our time out there. We need volunteers for home-delivered meals. What can you do to make the community better? I always say when I leave this world, I want to make sure I have a legacy behind me.
Amen.
I don't want them to say, well, Annette held a position as director. I want them to say, Annette did this and did this and did this, and this is what she did with her time to make the world a better place. And that's what you can do. When I hear someone comes to me and say, I'm retiring, I go to them right away and say, hey, retirement's not all it sounds like it's going to be. We need for you to volunteer. We need your time.
Yeah. So
You need your expertise.
I like that because, getting our volunteers involved, you made a key point that, when funds stops from different areas, they're stopped at, but we got to keep everybody, at least I think everybody, have a spare tire in their vehicle. I don't want to use it, but I'm hoping that you have one. I sure don't want to get out there and use it. That's why we got kind of join on those AAA people that they can fix it for us. But so volunteers, and I'm gonna say this we may have business owners that is out there that you can contribute towards this here. I don't think, I say this broadcast, one thing with my mom, so I always give her money. I never upset her with money. I mean, I never say, Mom will never say, well, I didn't like this, and But we need funds to help our programs. We need funds to continue helping in these communities because we can't rely all the time on federal and state funds because they will dry up or they make a cut and it will hurt the senior citizens. So we need to make sure we have funds in there. And if there's anyone to say, hey, we can make a donation or we can donate something, donate my time, donate some funds or whatever, I mean, you can contact Miss Annette. I got it right now?
You got it
Oh,
right.
boy, I'm doing good here. And her telephone number is a 252-974-1835. So that's 874-1835 is her telephone number. You can reach out. For senior citizens, you listen to this broadcast, learn about caregivers. You may have your granddaughter, you may have your children there, and they're there. And I know the economical is really tough out here today, so they may be burning more lights that they normally burn, and you may get behind. But if they'll do an intake and directly come to you, you're not going to be turned around and listen, hit number one, hit number two, hit number three. Someone to come and do an intake on you to be able to find out what's the service that you need. I mean, if you may need continence supplies, they will provide that for you. You may need a ramp being built. You may, whatever you need, you have someone that to come towards you. And to me, that's called a personal touch. They come towards you to be able to help you with the resources that you need to help with your community, help with your loved ones. Economic have always been an area for everybody. When you don't have it, a lot of times we don't know how to set up a budget, and then we spend more than we have. It's like going to try to buy a vehicle. You're upside down. Well, because you owe more on the vehicle than what the vehicle worth. So we got to look at those areas there. But they would do an intake with you. And all you have to do is dial a number, which is 252-974-1835. They'd be able to contact them information. As we closing out, and you also mentioned about ramps. You mentioned about there's programs for that. You mentioned about the chronic disease information the training. There's a lot of resources that you have brought to the table, and I tell you, thank you. Is there anything you like to say as you closing out? You gave the website, but we know that they can get the number faster, which is 252-974-1835. They be able to call, get someone direct. Is there anything you'd like to tell them as we close it out?
I just say if you ever have any questions about any resources, if you have any questions about anyone who's called your home, it could be a possible scam or whatever, reach out to us for anything. That's what we're here for. We're here to cover to any services or any resources or supports that seniors may need. And that's individuals who are 60 and older or their caregivers.
Okay. And you want to give your telephone number and website one more
Sure.
time, and we'll close it out.
It's 252-974-1835, and our website is www.mecaa.org.
Well, we want to thank you for being on this broadcast, sharing that information with our community. I'm praying that those who are looking at this broadcast take this information in, make that phone call, find out what's happening. 252-974-1835. I say it again in case that ink done went out or that pencil done broke. It's 252-974-1835. A lot of resource helping the senior citizens, 60 and older. They got other programs. I mean, she wouldn't have enough time to tell you everything on this 26-minute broadcast. Like, you wouldn't have enough time to tell them about the story of your life in 26 minutes. That's why they have the website. You can contact them. They will help you with information you need help with. So just make the phone call. God bless, and I thank you for listening to the broadcast.